All right, so officially welcome back to the Zoom room. Kim, really nice to have you here again. And
Thank you.
Elaine, nice to see you and hear from you again. So yeah, let's have a look at today's email with a daily quote as normal, and that'll lead us nicely into our lesson for today, workbook. Lesson 196, I believe we're on. Yeah, so just going to share my screen. So yeah, I think Kim, if you can kick it off for us, read the daily quote. This is from the course actually. Yeah, so share. All right, so if you can read that quote from the text, section 2 of chapter 10 of the text about attack.
All attack is self-attack. It cannot be anything else. Arising from your own decision not to be what you are, it is an attack on your identification. Attack is thus the way in which your identification is lost. Because when you attack, you must have forgotten what you are. And if your reality is perfect loves, when you attack, you're not remembering it.
Hmm. So thoughts about that? So that's quote he's just stating the simple truth that whenever you attack anyone or anything, you're really just attacking your own true self or identity. Why is that? Because whenever you think of an attack thought, it separates you from your source. You don't feel one anymore, you feel separate. So you're really attacking your own source, reaffirming separation. And you feel that immediately in your mind and in your being. You feel separate. And so you just attacked your true self or identity once again with that attack thought, which your ego tells you you're projecting out. And so it's not going to affect you. It's someone else who's the problem. But it automatically does affect you because it changes your state of mind. The moment you attack, you feel that separation from love, don't you? So it should be self-evident to us that you're really just attacking yourself.
Yeah.
You negating your own true state of mind by doing that. You know, the pure formless awareness of perfect love that you really are is negated and denied by any attack thought. It's even worse, you know, the thought is one thing, but if you act it out in the physical, then that becomes even worse because now you've made it really manifest. Just a thought, you can look at it and, you know, just let it go. So when you fully realize this, you'll automatically stop all your attacking thoughts and behavior because you'll understand that you're really just hurting yourself. As the truth of this astute observation by Einstein finally dawns in your previously confused mind. So a beautiful quote, one of his most famous ones, because it's so on point. It's absolutely still so true. So Kim, sorry, not Kim. Oh, where's Elaine? She dropped off. She has, it appears. Anyway,
Okay.
if you yeah, if you can read the that quote from Einstein.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah, a very, very pertinent quote. That's got nothing much to do with science, everything to do with observing human behavior. And so then I've got a picture of a wall, bang your head here. Just keep whacking your head against the wall of life by resisting it. And then you blame the wall. So no, it's the world. Wall in the analogy is a symbol for the world. It's the world doing it to me. When in fact it's you doing it to the wall. It's a bit like someone going head batting a brick wall and then blaming the wall and saying, no, 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 this is the wall's hurting me. The wall's only hurting you because you are willfully hitting your head against it. So Yeshua's saying to us, well, stop doing that. Stop listening to the ego and headbutting the wall, which creates pain and suffering. Just realize that the wall, isn't real. There is no wall. And the results, of whatever you striving for, you craving, as the Buddha put it, they don't really matter. So you can drop all of that attachment and just go with the flow. All right. So when you fully realize that you've really just been hurting yourself over and over again, pattern that may have continued for your entire life until now. The futile insanity of the ego, which remember is just your belief in separation and your consequent identification with the separate self, will become so evident to you that you may feel depressed, even suicidal, as the ego directs you in defense of its insanity. So it's quite common to go through this dark night of the soul. It's demonstrated quite well in this diagram. So we go, after the call to adventure, crossing the threshold, we go through a series of trials and tribulations and failures. But we do learn. If we persevere, we learn to grow, we learn new skills, to become robust and resilient. And then, you're prepared for the final deal, which is for the ego to die. It's the death of the ego and the rebirth into your true self. Notice that one has to go to be reborn to the other. You can't reconcile them. Yeah. So any questions on the holy on the hero's journey? So the dark nights of the soul that it's talking about is the time for courage and faith that you will ultimately transcend this block to the awareness of love's presence. As Yeshua calls anything is not pure form, so what is perfect love, an introduction to the text. So you might say, well, how can I know that I'll get through this block and all other blocks to find the peace of perfect love? Because many other people have journeyed through the deepest darkness or limited awareness of their egos. The egos could conjure up and they transcended it to discover who they really are through the same hero's journey as you're on. Everyone who's spiritually awakening is by default on a hero's journey. This is why Joseph Campbell's conception of the hero's journey is so helpful. It gives us a universally true blueprint for awakening from the nightmare of egoic consciousness to the knowledge of who we really are. And no matter what seems to be happening in our dream of being a separate self, the uncertainty that we'll ultimately experience, and we'll ultimately experience this knowledge fully, because this is the destiny of all who undertake the hero's journey. So the hero's journey is just a metaphor for the journey of awakening. If you want to watch this movie, great movie called Finding Joe, if you haven't watched it, can highly recommend it. It's got both different spiritual teachers, including Deepak Chopra, Robin Sharma, Alan Cohen, and there's a kind of a story as well to demonstrate it. So, it's not a massive budget film, it's a low budget film, but still, very pertinent. And ideas shared are very pertinent. So, have you watched it, Kim?
Yes, I think I watched it at least 2 years ago. Mm-hmm.
It might be worth watching again. There's a lot of
Yeah.
truth coming in it. A lot of these guys who do interviewed are very wise. A lot of them are, like household names in spiritual circles anyway, like Deepak Chopra,
Yes. Yes.
Rama. And they interviewed and they give their take on it. And really you start to see that what Joseph Campbell tapped into is just the journey of awakening. And he put a model to it. So it's just one way of looking at the whole journey. And it is a journey to that end destination. And so that's why it's called the hero's journey. Okay, so that should prepare us quite well to have a look at today's lesson. So let's do that. Just going to go into the lesson in here. No, sorry, wrong one. We're going to go into lesson 196. Okay, so just give me a moment. Let's record this. If you can read lesson 196 in the original and the alternative version first up, and then go into paragraph 1. Just read the alternative.
Can be like myself, I crucify. I only ever crucify myself.
Yeah, and then notice the only real change there is that it's a capital S. That's quite an important distinction.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to
Yes.
do is crucify my capital self, which is the self that knows that I'm innocent, pure, holy, sinless, loving, peaceful, joyful. By condemning anyone else, I'm crucifying that. I'm destroying my awareness of that self, and hence the crucifixion, resurrection drama that Yeshua played out is a metaphor for people's lives. If you keep trying to crucify yourself, he can't help you. He says, this is not the gospel I came to give you. You need to change your mind so that you can see through all these negatives. All right, so let's go on to number 1. I need to save time. Kim, so you're tired, probably. I'm also pretty tired, so if you can read the alternative, just the alternative version in the gray below the original.
When this is firmly understood and kept in full awareness, I will not attempt to harm myself or make my body slave to vengeance. I will not attack myself, and I will not realize that to attack another is only to attack myself. I will be free of the insane belief that to attack anyone frees me. And I will understand their safety is my own, and I am healed in their healing. So I think if we properly understand this, we wouldn't react or behave in an egoic way, because it's actually attacking our true self.
Oh, exactly.
And attacking someone else. By not doing it, we understand that we're keeping our brothers safe, and we're healed as a result.
Yeah. So, the situation I explained today in our share, if I'd done what the ego wanted me to do, I would have actually been attacking myself. It wouldn't have seemed like it to the ego. It would have seemed like it's attacking someone else. But it would have been attacking my own capital self, my true self, because would have been denying the oneness that is essential to that self. That capital self is the same self. We all share it. So when you attack another, if they're the same self as you, then you're really attacking your capital self. Which, when you really understand that, doesn't make any sense at all. Go, well, why am I doing that? How can I expect to be free and happy and peaceful when I continually attack myself. It's not possible. But it takes a lot of understanding and mind training to really get this, doesn't it? We're so used to projecting out, attacking someone else, and then thinking, the ego says, well, then you're safe. Attack will keep you safe because you're not the guilty one. Someone else is the guilty one. So remember what the ego is always trying to do is project the guilt
Yeah.
onto someone else. So if you look at the diagram, because we believe we're guilty and we're sinful, and we can't handle that, we have to project it onto someone or something. So we project it out onto a concept of a fearful, wrathful, vengeful God, and we project it out onto our brothers, and we accuse and blame and attack them. And the ego tells us, well, that's going to keep you safe because they are now the guilty ones, and you're off the hook, so God's going to punish them. Really, what you've done is just reinforced your guilt. And the consequence of guilt is fear. The more you reinforce your guilt, the idea that you are sinful, the more you're going to fear punishment, and the more you're going to project out and do the whole accusation, blame, and attack cycle, which is a vicious circle, as it says. Defense and attack and defense just go around and around, and they bind you in this thought system, and they stop you from ever awakening to the truth that you are just perfect oneness, pure formless oneness of perfect love and nothing else. Okay, should we go on? Let's happy with number one.
Yes.
So number two, let's go into the alternative. So save some time. Perhaps at first.
Perhaps at first I will not understand how unconditional love, limitless and with all things held in its sure protection, can be found in the idea I practice for today. It may in fact appear to be a sign that punishment can never be escaped because the belief in separation under what it sees as a threat is quick to cite the truth to save its lies. Yet it must fail to understand the truth it uses in this way. But I can learn to perceive these foolish self-deceptions and deny the meaning they appear to have. I think it's saying it's like, how is it that we can, it might seem like that we don't understand how love can be healing in this situation and how it can, that it can actually help us to escape punishment. It's, struggling for, it's initially, how is it that attacking someone else and actually doing the contrary, not attacking someone else, can bring the healing? We think that attacking someone else projects it away from us, but actually not by not doing it means that we can be healed.
He's saying really here, in fact, appears to be a sign. Punishment can never be escaped. Right? It can be but myself I crucify. I can only ever crucify myself. Ego can misinterpret it and say, oh, well, so you're doomed. It's all about crucifixion and death. You only crucify yourself. And he's saying, actually, you fail to understand the truth if you think that. This is really pointing you to liberation. It's saying if you are only ever attacking yourself, by understanding that this can help you stop attacking. All you have to do is I'm attacking myself now. If there's any attack thought, immediately the correction is, well, I'm just attacking myself. Do I want to attack myself, or can I just let that thought go and stop attacking myself? Stop hitting my head against the brick wall, in other words. and then blaming the wall, put
Yeah.
bluntly. And that's probably to what we're doing. I'll whack my head against the wall of life, and then it's sore, and then I go, it's not my fault, it's someone else did it to me. But I did it with my attack thought. And that's what actually hurt me. The attack thought is the intent to hit your head on the wall. Think about it that way. Whenever you want to attack someone, you're saying, I'm going to bash my head against the wall again. And I'm going to think that that's going to work somehow. And I'm going to be able to somehow make that system work. And of course it doesn't. And Yeshua just saying, stop it. Stop it already. This is never going to work. How do you expect to have happiness and love and peace and joy when you keep hitting your head against a brick wall? And then you're bleeding and you're sore and you're like, and you're saying, well, oh, poor me, I'm the victim of the world. Look at what the world's done to me. Instead, it's your own attack thoughts that have done it to you. So you're the victim of your own mind, which is crazy. How can you be the victim of your own mind if you can just change your mind? Or how can you be a victim then? Because you're doing it to yourself. It's just realizing that you're doing it to yourself. That's what the ego doesn't want us to realize. It wants us to think someone or something else outside of us is doing it to us. All right, so we go on to number 3. Let's do an alternative. So I also teach my mind that I'm not a separate self.
And so I also teach my mind that I am not a separate self, for the ways in which the belief in separation that is the foundation of my separate self wants to distort the truth will no longer deceive me. I will not believe that I am a body to be crucified, and I will receive the whole awareness of resurrection from today's idea, looking past all thoughts of crucifixion and death to thoughts of liberation and eternal life. So it's saying that we're not really a body or a separate self, and also we don't we look past of any kind of thoughts of attack, because anyway it's going to attack ourselves. So don't do that. Don't do attack thoughts. Rather do something loving.
And if you do that in practical situations, and we discussed in our expression, it makes a huge difference. You see it differently, make a different decision, and then you act. You say different things, you act differently, and then how you're thinking projects out or extends out. That then creates a different reality, a different situation. So it's enormously practical, of course. I'm talking about high-level metaphysics and abstract ideas of oneness, but the miracle is how it translates into this world. And that's why it's called A Course in Miracles, not a course in eternal love. This is how it applies in this world. Let's go back to the Holy Trinity we looked at before we started recording. The course is primarily concerned with how you change your perception from the ego's perception to true perceptions or Christ's vision, which involves letting go of your existing perception. And when you do that, that's called a miracle or a correction. And that's what the course is designed to teach you to do, because he knows that will, over time, confirm more and more in your mind the power of your true self, or Christ. And the more you become aware of that and rooted in that, the closer you get to pure formless awareness of perfect love, because pure formless awareness of perfect love is the source of that true self. And so via the mechanism of correcting perceptions, which is the Holy Spirit, and the true self, which is the Christ, you return to God, which is pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to number 4. You can read that. I'll read,
Alternative.
yeah, I'll read the original actually. There's a couple of translations there. So today's idea is one step we take in leading us from bondage to the state of perfect freedom. So we need perfect. Let's just keep that the same. Okay, so then read an alternative. Kim, can you read the alternative? Today's idea is one step.
Today's idea is one step I take in leading me from bondage to the state of perfect freedom. Let me take the step today so that I may quickly go the way my awakening shows me, taking every step in its predestined sequence as my mind lets go of its block one by one. I do not need time for this, I only need willingness. What would seem to need 1,000 years may easily be done in just one moment by the grace of perfect loving awareness. So taking the step today by recognizing that, attacking outwards is only taking my true self, and by not doing that, it's a big step. With willingness, can actually just take a giant leap into being, into grace, pure formless awareness.
What would seem to take 1,000 years can easily be done in just one moment
Yeah,
by the great
from that holy
loving.
instinct.
Yeah, so you can have these moments of insight, a holy instant, satori, they call it in the East, where in that one moment you go, oh, I get it. I just have seen something, the light has come, and one moment like that can completely change your life because it just rearranges your entire reality. And many people who have awoken or awakening have had these moments, and they go, it was life-changing in one moment. It didn't necessarily need to be a long moment either. It could, sometimes just be one moment, like a few seconds even, where they just have an experience of something completely beyond this world, completely transcendent, and then they change forever because in that moment they've experienced something beyond the grace of perfect loving awareness. Okay, so let's go on to number 5, the dreary, hopeless thought.
Very hopeless thought that I can make attacks on others and escape myself has nailed me to the cross. Perhaps it seemed to be freedom, yet it merely stood for the belief the fear of perfect love is real. And what is that except victimhood and suffering? Who could believe their source is their deadly enemy, separate from them and waiting to destroy their life and blot them out of existence without the fear of death upon their heart?
So God is source, Father is source, God is perfect love. Those are the main translations, and salvation is awakening. So it just makes it the translations just make it a bit more explicit as to what we're actually talking about. Yeah, so any other thoughts on that?
No, it's just the thought that, I mean, it's coming from the ego to actually think that by attacking others, we can find our salvation. and that's coming from a place of fear
mm,
or no perfect love. Why, you know, why would we even think that source would
mm,
be our enemy?
mm. If it's your source, how can it be your enemy? It's a source of life, not of death.
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't make sense. And so the more you think about the truth and how the ego works, the more you see the complete falsity of it. You know, how can that be? How can that make sense? How can the source kill itself and kill its own extension? How does that make any sense? How does that work? And then we start unraveling the logic of the ego system, and we realize it is actually just an impossible idea, albeit the impossible seems to be made possible. That's of course the illusion, that it is possible, and you see its manifest effects in the world everywhere. But it remains an impossible idea. And if you see it as such, then your mind is healed. It's very, very simple, but it takes a lot of practice to be disciplined enough to maintain that vigilance and not get sucked into believing that the impossible is indeed possible and true. Okay. Happy to go on to number 6. Such as the
if I
form of
accept,
madness. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Just read the alternative. It's fine.
if
There's
I
only
accept
the
the
five.
fearful thought, sorry,
Mm.
if I accept
Yeah.
the fearful thought that I can attack another and be free myself, this is the form of madness I must believe in. Until this form is changed, there is no hope. Until I at least perceive that this must be entirely impossible, how can I escape? The fear of perfect love is real to anyone who thinks this thought is true, and they will not perceive its foolishness, or even perceive that there is so that it would be possible to question it.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So this is, I can attack another and be free myself. The ego is telling us you attack someone else, then you project the guilt onto them. They're going to be the guilty ones, and therefore you're off the hook. You're not going to be
Yeah.
punished. You're not going to be punished by God because someone else is going to be punished. And that's why it's so tempting to blame people. Blame is
Mm.
somebody saying, I'm not going to be punished. You're the one who's going to be punished. And so I'm off the hook when I do that. And psychologically, we feel slightly unburdened when we do that. And so that's why everyone's trying to blame everyone else in this one, because then I'm not the
Mm.
guilty one, you're the guilty one. That's why
Yeah.
accusation, blame, and attack are so prevalent in society and in our human interactions, because everyone's trying to offload their guilt onto someone else. And the accusation, the blame, the attack are just trying the ego's attempts to deal with the burden of guilt and sin, to project it onto
Mm.
someone else. This is saying, well, you can't deal with it that way. If you try and project it onto someone else and think that's going to keep you safe, you're delusional. You can't be free yourself if you attack another. And this is madness. Surely that's evident. Yes, you're saying, surely you can see that from your own experience, from observing the world. How can you believe attack is freedom? Attack invites what? Counterattack. In this world, if you attack anyone else, then what's going to happen is you're going to fear that they're going to attack you back. And then the fear, their false expectation of punishment appearing real, seems to come back at you, and that stimulates more guilt and more sin, because guilt and sin and fear go together. It becomes a cyclical, self-perpetuating system until something else, which is the Holy Spirit, comes in and says, no, let's cut through all of this nonsense, shine the light of true awareness, which is perfectly reasonable and rational, into this and realize that it's all false, which is what the Holy Spirit's job is. Okay.
How many more paragraphs are there, Jono?
No, it's not too long. It's 9, 10, 12. So where are we at? We're at number 7, are we? So it's 5
We're
more.
halfway.
Yeah, almost. More than halfway, yeah. To question it, yeah, it's 5 more. We can crack on with it if you like. To question it at all.
Yeah, for a bit longer, John. I don't know how much longer I can do.
Okay.
So,
Let's do
yeah,
another 10 or 15 minutes. We can probably get it
yeah,
done in that
okay.
question.
To question it at all, its form must first be changed, at least as much as will permit fear of retaliation to abate and the responsibility return to some extent to me. From there, I can at least consider if I want to go along this painful truth. Until this shift has been accomplished, I cannot perceive that it is only my thoughts that bring me fear, and my freedom depends on me. So I don't quite get that first sentence, but if I want to let it go, or if I want to accept this painful truth that if I do attack thoughts, it's only going to hurt me, I won't be able to accomplish a shift.
Hmm. Got to really start
There's
questioning
this
this.
response, yeah, questioning and realize the responsibility is actually on me.
Hmm.
Realizing a responsibility is on me, that means I can do something about it. If I
Hmm.
actually want to carry on like this, or
Hmm.
reevaluate, and then the shift comes.
Yeah. So it starts with questioning the default attack thought system of the ego. Its form must first be changed, at least as much as will permit fear of retaliation to abate, and the responsibility returns to some extent to me. So instead of fearing the outside retaliation for attack, you have to go, okay, I've got to let that go and recognize that this is all my own doing. See,
Yeah,
it's like something outside of me is going to get me, and
yeah,
I'm scared of that. I've done this to myself. My own thinking has
yeah,
done this. I'm my own worst enemy. So I need to change my mind about that. And my
yeah,
responsibility is that, to change my mind and let go of the attack thoughts, which is just attacking my own true self. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. It's one of the early lessons, 23, I think. Realize that this is what I'm doing. And until this shift has been accomplished, I cannot perceive that it is only my thoughts that bring me fear, and my freedom depends on me. So it's a simple shift, but it's a profound one, that I must take 100% responsibility for everything that happens to me. I can't blame anyone or anything else, because that 100% responsibility means that you can let go of whatever the negativity is. You empower
yeah,
yourself to do that. If you deny responsibility, say I'm a victim, then you can blame the outside world all you like, and you get stuck. You just can't shift, because if you're the victim of an external world, and the external world is really outside of you, you have no capacity to change it. You have no power to change it. So the ego tells you. So
yeah,
why even bother? You just become a victim, and various strategies unfold to try and manage your life better in that victim state, all of which are dysfunctional because the ego isn't even real. So it's made the unreal, and then it tries to find unreal solutions for the unreal, which is why none of the worldly solutions work. Only the Holy Spirit works. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
My next
Uh,
steps will be easy. If I take this one today, from there I will progress quite rapidly. Once I understand it is impossible that I'll be hurt except by my own thoughts, the fear of perfect love must disappear. I cannot then believe that fear is caused by anything outside of me, and I can welcome pure formless awareness of perfect love, which I tried to banish back to the innocent awareness it never left. So, saying now, once you realize this, the steps is to let go, and you'll progress quite rapidly. Because now you understand it's impossible to be fearing perfect love, won't attack and put it, put the blame on someone else, because you understand what that, what it means now. And that fear is not caused by anything outside of you. And you're welcoming pure formless awareness.
Yeah. So it starts with saying, I'm going to question the attack thoughts, and I'm going to be open to the idea that I'm responsible. If someone or something seems to be attacking me, maybe it's my own thoughts that are really doing this to me. It sounds simple, but that's a major shift in perception. Most people don't understand that, because it appears to be that, something outside of them is doing it to them.
Yeah.
Understand that it's just a projection of their own unconscious mind.
Mm.
And that's just manifesting in form and
Yeah.
attacking them because that's what they think they deserve. They
Mm.
deserve to be attacked. If you believe you've really destroyed God or love, as Yeshua showing in this diagram, then inevitably you're going to fear punishment. If you've done this terrible thing, then you're going to be punished by a fearful, wrathful, vengeful God, which the ego invents. Doesn't make any sense, of course, because apparently you just killed God. You see why the ego is totally insane. You've apparently just destroyed this entity, but then in the next thought you're fearing the very same entity that you apparently destroyed. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If you really destroyed it, then why are you fearing it? It's gone. There is no fearful, wrathful, vengeful God to destroy you because you've destroyed it. But of course, the ego can't destroy it, and so this concept of a fearful, wrathful God is in some ways an acknowledgement that pure formless awareness of perfect love is indestructible. You can never destroy that. It's continue. And the ego, like on some level, we know that, but the game we play is that we don't know it. We've forgotten that, and that we will be punished by God, the universe, whatever we conceive of, for this imagined crime of separating from our source and destroying God, love, oneness, pure formless awareness. Yeah, so does that diagram clarify it?
Yep.
Hopefully go to number 9. Yeah,
I can
so
certainly hear the song. Sorry, I can certainly hear the song of awakening in the idea I practice for today. If it can only be me that I crucify, I do not hurt the world and need not fear its vengeance and pursuit, nor need I hide in terror from the deadly fear of perfect love that projection hides behind. The thing I dread the most is my awakening. I'm strong, and it is strength that I want. And I am free and happy to be free. I have wanted to be both weak and limited because I feared my strength and freedom, yet my awakening lies in them.
Okay, summary of that.
So if one realizes that if one projects outwards an attack and one's only hurting oneself, and if one doesn't do it, we don't hurt the world, and we don't need to fear. There's nothing to fear there. There's no vengeance, and we realize that actually we have what we fear is our awakening, but there's strength and love in that.
Mm.
and we can be free and happy.
Yeah, and bizarrely, the ego fears the very thing that's going to make you happy and free. It fears that and wants you to continue on in the thought system of guilt and sin and fear and attack and say that that's going to work.
Mm.
And it's just saying, no, it's never going to work. If you look at it, it's just going to perpetuate the problem. The more you fear, the more you attack, and the more guilt and sin you feel, which reinforces your separate identity, reinforces the ego, which is a
Mm.
consciousness or mind, believes in separation. And the guilt gets reinforced. You feel like you really are guilty and you do deserve to be punished. But it's just saying there's no punishment. There is no vengeful, fearful God. It's made up. You made up that concept out of your own guilt. So none of it's really true. Okay, so when we go to number 10, a couple of paragraphs to go, 3 paragraphs to go. So let's push through, shall we? So we get to the end.
I may experience a moment in which terror seems to grip my mind so wholly that escape appears quite hopeless. When I realize once and for all that it is mere fear, my mind perceives itself as split, and this was concealed while I believed attack could be directed outward and returned from outside to within. It seemed to have been an enemy outside I had to fear, and so my projection of my own false belief outside myself became my mortal enemy and the source of fear. So it's within the ego. We have this fear. The fears, it's actually our own thoughts that's creating this fear. And there's a fear of myself, which is the true self. So then that's the split mind, because my little ego is fearing the big self. But that
Hmm.
was we were trying to direct it outward. We didn't make that realization yet that it was a true self that we were fearing, really.
Hmm. Yeah, we haven't, when you're asleep,
Being
you don't
trauma
know.
projected. Yeah,
But
but
actually,
it's
the more you
actually
work,
the true self.
yeah, the ego is terrified of your true self and pure formless awareness of perfect love because that undoes the ego. That destroys the ego. So it's terrified of that and says, I'm your guide. Stay safe with me by listening to me. Keep on in the guilt, sin, fear, attack program, and you're going to be safe. Except that it's quite evident if you look at it honestly, that you're not going to be safe. You're going to
Mm,
be very vulnerable.
yeah.
Your guilt and your sin and your fear, the guilt and sin require punishment. So then you must have a false expectation of punishment appearing real, and that invites attack. Now, how can that keep you safe? That means you feel very unsafe. Of course, the ego is trying to convince you of its case, but it's insane. All right. So we've done number 10. Yeah, it seemed to be the enemy outside me. I had to fear. So my projection, my own false belief outside myself became my mortal enemy and the source of fear. And so I project outside myself into this concept of a fearful, lustful, vengeful God. And I also project out and I perceive my brothers, holy brothers, as separate. All
Yeah.
right, so number 11, 2 more to go. Now for a moment.
Now for a moment I perceive a murderer within me, eager for my death, intent on plotting punishment for me until the time when it can kill me at last. That in this moment, the time in which I awaken is inherent as well. The fear of perfect love has disappeared, and I can call on it to free me from illusions through its love, calling it source and myself its extension. I pray that this moment may be today. I let go of fear and advance to pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Okay, thoughts on that? Do a quick summary. Thoughts on that, Kim?
You might, yeah, you might just perceive a murderer within myself, someone that's going to kill myself. So it's like a death upon myself, plotting punishment for me. But also in this moment, I can awaken as well. Because of fear, with awakening, the fear disappears. I'm free from the illusions through the perfect love of pure formless awareness, which is my source. And I'm an extension of that source. So I'm one with that source of perfect love, rather than the other self, which is the ego, which perceives the murderer within me. So I let go of that fear of myself, which is the extension of pure love, and advance onto that oneness of perfect love.
It's kind of shocking when you do start awakening, you really see that you perceive a murderer within you. Go, oh my God, I don't really trust myself. There's this insane, vicious, murderous entity, eager for my death, intent and plotting punishment for me when it can kill me at last. And you realize this is within you. It's kind of shocking, but it's necessary to go there and realize that. Because only then can you let go. And you go through a time, I went through a time where I was like, wow, I don't really trust myself. This murderous, savage entity in me. It's like it couldn't do anything. It's completely
Yeah,
insane and wild. And you're going, can I handle it? Can I actually control this? Because you unleash what's been suppressed.
yeah,
But that's when you've got to call on the help of the Holy Spirit. So show me, show me how I work through this. And if you do that consistently, you start to let go of those thoughts and emotions. They all dissipate and they start fading away into the nothingness that they're really made out of. And then what remains is the truth. All right. Let's go on to the last one, number 12. There is no thought
there is no thought of perfect love that does not go with
of
me.
God. Well, there's no thought in the original. You read in the alternative. So I'll read just one sentence at a time. There is no thought of God that does not go with you to help you reach that instant and to go beyond it quickly, surely, and forever.
There is no thought of perfect love that does not go with me to help me reach this moment and to go beyond it quickly, surely, and forever.
When the fear of God is gone, there are no obstacles that still remain between you and the holy peace of God.
When the fear of perfect love is gone, there is no obstacles that still remain between me and the innocent peace of perfect love.
How kind and merciful is the idea we practice.
How loving and kind is the idea I practice today.
Give it welcome as you should, for it is your release.
I give it welcome as I should do, for it is my release.
It is indeed but you, your mind can try to crucify.
It is indeed only me, my mind can try to crucify.
Yet your redemption too will come from you.
Yet my freedom too will come from me.
Okay, and then just read it. Read it from the top in the alternative.
There is no thought of perfect love that does not go with me to help me reach this moment and go beyond it quickly, surely, and forever. When the fear of perfect love is gone, there are no obstacles that still remain between me and the innocent peace of perfect love. How loving and kind is the idea I practice today. I give it welcome, as I should do, for it is my release. It is indeed only me my mind can try to crucify, yet my freedom too will come from me.
Hmm.
I think what it's saying there is that perfect love is always there. Um, and if I choose, I can go along with it quickly. And that once that fear is gone of perfect love, there are no obstacles, there's no illusions, and I'm one with the innocent peace of perfect love. So that's practicing this today would be loving and kind, and I would give it welcome, for it is my release from the fear. And it's reaffirming that only I can only crucify myself. Or it's only my mind that can crucify me. So it's me, but my freedom will also come from me, my true self.
Hmm. Yeah, so 100% responsibility means, yeah, okay, I've got to admit that I've done it to myself. It's a hard thing to realize. I've crucified myself, and there's a whole lot of self-blame, and you can get upset with yourself and say, I've been an idiot, and why have I done this? But that's the road to liberation, because if you realize that you have done that, you can stop doing it. You see,
Yeah.
because you're in charge of it. You're in control of it. It's your decision. If you project it out and say, I'm a victim of the world, I can't do anything about it, then you
Mm.
can't change it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
Okay.
the victimhood and a victim identity, never works. You just get stuck in it in the inertia, because you can't even take the responsibility and just let it go yourself.
Yes.
Okay. And so
Yes.
that probably this not probably this is where the rubber meets the road of any transformation. You have to
Yeah.
take responsibility. If you don't, no transformation can happen. So in the recovery movement, if you look at the 12 steps of the Alcoholics Anonymous process, the first step is I accept, I acknowledge that I'm an alcoholic.
Yes.
I have a problem. Okay,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
degree of responsibility for that. I've done this to myself. I'm the one who's tipping alcohol down my throat every day, and I have a problem, and I'm willing to look at the problem honestly and accept that I need help, and then I can move forward. But if I
Yeah.
say that I'm not an alcoholic, then I can't change. There's no um, possibility of any change, because I don't accept that I have a problem.
Mm.
So the responsibility comes first, and that's a hard thing to accept. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched that. Did you watch the movie I recommended, the Ordinary Angels?
I
It was a
didn't
movie I
read
recommended.
more. Oh, it got too late for
Yeah,
me
definitely,
yesterday. More. Yeah.
definitely worth watching. But in it,
Yeah.
it's a story based on a true story of a woman who was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Um, and she finds this family who are in need. The mother's died, and now the daughter is really sick, and the
Yeah.
daughter needs a lung transplant, and so they need money. The dad's struggling. He can't pay the bills, and so she takes it on herself to like become the ordinary angel and help them. But she's an alcoholic, and her friend tries to help her. The first
Mm.
time she goes to an AA meeting, and she arrives and she says, I'm so and so, and I don't even know why I'm here. I'm not an alcoholic, and I'm
Mm.
fine. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
there's no possibility of any healing, because
Yeah.
she hasn't accepted that she has a problem. And then, she journeys and through the situation, she's taking care of these kids, and there's some beer in the fridge, and she can't help herself, and she drinks it, and she gets drunk, and she's alone with the kids, and then the father comes home and says, well, sorry, I can't, although you've really tried to help, I can't trust you. I can't leave you alone with the kids if you're going to get drunk, because anything could have happened. And then she's like, okay, I can't, I have a problem. And then she goes back, and second time she's at the AA meeting, she's like, my name's Sharon, and I'm an alcoholic. And then the healing can start. That's why they start with that acknowledgement and a responsibility. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic, and I've done this to myself, and therefore I can undo it. I'm not a victim of the world. No one's made me do this. I've done it to myself. It's not an easy realization, is it? To go like, I've basically screwed up, and I've done whatever. I mean, alcoholism always comes with a lot of destructive effects. In fact, in the grant study that they did for 80 odd years of two different groups of men and their families that they surveyed every couple of years, one of the chief determinants of unhappiness was alcohol abuse and drug abuse too. So, but alcohol was a feature. Whenever there was excessive alcohol use and alcoholism, it seriously negatively impacted the person's happiness, their whole family, because it's a false idol, isn't it? You putting your love into that. You're saying, above all else, I want my fix of my substance, and in the
Yeah.
process, I'll stomp all over everyone else, and I'll just treat everyone else with, disrespect. And of course, this is what's shown in the movie. She's was a mother, and she obviously didn't do a very good job, because if you're an alcoholic, you don't. And now her son's got a grievance against her, and she's trying to make good. She's trying to like heal herself by helping this family, which in the end she does. She's trying to help herself by being generous and kind and loving, and in the end it does work. But she has to realize that it's really just myself that I'm helping. She's trying to save herself by trying to save them. Quite a profound movie, actually, based on a true story of what actually happened in real life. So can I recommend watching it? I watched it on a plane, on one of my
Yeah.
legs of a plane journey, which and it just sort of stood out. It was like Ordinary Angel. Okay, that looks. It's a new release, so I didn't know anything about it. It's like, yeah, it was good. And then I watched another one called Arthur the King,
Yeah,
which
no, we
the
spoke
lady,
about that. Yeah,
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 had
yeah,
next to me. And okay, well, I
yeah.
wouldn't ever chosen to watch that because I didn't understand what it was about. I said, no, you got to watch it. It's
Oh,
really good. And so then this is how the Holy Spirit guides you. It says, okay, this is what you need to, what you need to
yeah,
watch, and both profound movies that demonstrate aspects of the spirit versus the ego, how that works. Okay. So to wrap it up, do you want to just read this? We don't have to do any chatting about it. Just
Well,
read.
can I just read the last message? Sorry, it's really late. I'll just not
Hmm.
read these paragraphs. I'll just read that last message, the key message. Okay.
All right.
All right. I recognize that attacking others is always self-attack and leads to fear of my own perfect loving awareness. I must shift my perception to help me realize that fear is caused by my own thoughts and my freedom comes from within me. Therefore, I choose to let go of my fear and accept pure formless awareness of perfect love instead. And so I will finally come to know who I really am.
Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell, really.
Yeah.
It's the responsibility that you take, saying, only I can free myself. I've got to learn to let go of attack thoughts, of fear. Fear and attack thoughts are bound up together. You only fear because you attack. The more you attack, the more you fear that you will be attacked. That's how it goes. So therefore I choose to let go of my fear. Simple choice and decision. Say, okay, enough's enough. This is the only way. I must let it go. It sounds very simple.
Yeah.
Conceptually it is, but to actually do it is a
Yes.
re-examination of an entire thought system that's governed you, your whole thought system, your world, your reality, your personal identity comes into question, and you feel like your world is just crumbling, awakening, like everything's just falling apart, and the ego desperately tries to cling to something that's solid. But if you can just go through that process and let it happen, then on the other side of that, you find, this pure awareness that is waiting there. Once all the ego's idols have crumbled, then what's left is pure formless awareness and perfect love, which is whole, complete, perfect, peaceful, happy, no drama, no pain, no suffering ever enters into it. But why would we resist that? Why would we fear that when it's, complete
Mm.
salvation?
Mm.
So then it just starts with a recognition that I'm responsible. No one can do this for me. I've got to let go. No one can let go for me. It's a very, very simple idea, but to actually do it, most people don't. If you're
Yeah.
not awakened or awakening, you don't. You don't take the responsibility. You blame the world. You say, well, someone else is to blame. I'm not to blame. I'm not responsible. And you keep projecting everything outside of yourself, so you never have to take the responsibility and face the pain of that, of what you've done to yourself. But if you can have the courage to face that and go, it's not going to
Mm.
be pleasant to realize that I've done this to myself and I've been a really complete idiot. And if you've done, some people do, quite hurtful things to themselves and others. That's not an easy thing to face up to. But if you can do it, then you can heal. And so that's the courage, the hero's journey you talked about earlier, is the courage to face it, confront it, say, yeah, okay, I'm going to go through whatever. I'm going to let it come up. I'm going to experience it. It's not going to be pleasant, but I know that I can let it go. And on the other side of that pain is this blissful awareness, or pure formless awareness of perfect love, we call it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you have a question or?
No, no, no. No, no, no.
Hmm.
All good. Thanks, John. Sorry, it's time to go.
Yeah, all right. So let's leave it there. Thanks for
Okay.
joining, Kim.
Thanks
Really
so much,
appreciate it.
John. I really appreciate it. It was a
Yeah.
good session. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Uh, might see you in the week. Join us if you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Okay.
All right.
Namaste.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.
Have a good week. Okay, so I'm just going to read the personalized summary in full. So when I firmly understand and keep in full awareness that attacking another is attacking my capital self, I'll realize that my safety is linked to the safety of others. And so in their healing, I am healed. This understanding helps me to see past my belief in separation and realize that I'm not a body to be crucified, but totally innocent and capable of liberation and experiencing eternal life. This realization is a step towards a state of pure formless awareness, which does not require time, but only my willingness. And he's saying, I can let go of my belief in separation, realize that I'm not really a body, I'm totally innocent in others' healing, so I'm healed. So why wouldn't I want to heal and bless others? Because it's just healing and blessing myself. This realization is a step towards a state of pure formless awareness, essential. I must realize that I have a choice. I have the power to make a different choice. And that's the taking of the responsibility we just talked about. Responsibility means that you have choice. Choice means that you can make a different choice. A different choice means different thoughts, different emotions, different words, different actions, and that's how you change your reality. And this world's made up of thoughts, emotions, on the internal aspect of reality, and then on the external, it manifests in certain, often miraculous ways, as is shown here. Let me just go to this diagram quickly in the integral model. You can see on the screen there. So, but the subjective interior eye of thoughts, emotions, and memories, states of mind, perceptions, and immediate sensations. That's the interior individual part of our minds, and that creates the material body, anything that you can see or touch in time and space. It's a projection of the mind that is mind-bogglingly complex, apparently. But the simplicity of it is that it's all the same. Recognizing that it is all the same, and that I can just change my mind. If I change my mind, then I raise my awareness. You go up a few levels. The more you change your mind, you shift up. Like contour lines, you go to a higher level, and then on that higher level, there's a different set of circumstances that calibrate with that. All right, so let's go back. The belief that attacking others can help me to escape from my guilt leads to my fear of perfect love and is a form of madness. Indeed, I can't. How can I think I can attack others and then also escape from guilt? The more I attack, the more I fear. To escape this fear, I must realize that it is impossible to be hurt except by my own thoughts. So I understand this, the fear of perfect love will disappear and I'll become perfect loving awareness. And I'll welcome perfect loving awareness back into my mind. So this is the key point of any transformation. You must take responsibility for all of your thoughts, your words, your actions, how that reflects to you in the world. Or it can be quite hard to do this, but in doing this, you're free. Awakening lies in my strength and freedom, which I feared in the past. But I realize that the fear is within and not outside me. The fear of perfect love will disappear. And I will call on it for guidance, recognizing myself as its extension in the process. So, call to listen to guidance, listen to the Holy Spirit for guidance in the moments of perfect love. So we translate in alternative language. So moments of perfect love accompanies me to help me overcome fear and attain the pure peace of perfect love. The idea that I need to crucify myself is kind and helpful as it can lead to my release and freedom. My awakening comes from within me as I let go of my belief in separation, accept my true self. Moments of perfect love accompanies me to help me overcome fear and attain the pure peace of perfect love. The idea that I need to crucify myself is kind and helpful as it can lead to my release and freedom. My awakening comes from within me as I let go of my belief in separation, accept my true self. So the idea that I only crucify myself is kind and helpful. It can only lead to my release and freedom. So it can be hard to recognize that I only crucify myself, but It's very empowering because then you can change your mind. And you don't have to remain in that situation forever. So you're not a victim of the world you see. All right, so then just a key message, we've been through it, I'll read it again. So I recognize that attacking others is always self-attack. It leads to my fear of my own perfect loving awareness. So I must shift my perception to help me realize that fear is caused by my own thoughts and my freedom comes from within me. Therefore, I choose to let go of my fear, accept pure form of someone's perfect love instead. So therefore, I choose to let go of my fear and accept pure form of someone's perfect love instead. And so I will finally come to know who I really am. So just sum it up. This is just a message that says you're responsible. You can make a different choice, accept that responsibility, and then you can be free. The idea of the lesson, the idea I can only crucify myself, to just get you to realize that, awaken through that, taking of 100% responsibility. Okay, so I think that's a wrap for tonight. If you enjoyed the session, then a couple of things you can do to take it further. Go to lifebuild.com. You can see in the background of this video, there's a spelling of life build, just life and build, so your life and build a house.com. And there you can subscribe to receive daily Telegram messages in which I send out content that you saw already, content. Send it out by Telegram along with, it's a daily quote and some teaching around that, which leads into a lesson from the Course in Miracles workbook. And you also get a breath break or mini meditation on it, so you can listen to the workbook lesson, practice it. So yeah, check it out. Go to lifeball.com. Just put in your details. Make sure the Telegram is downloaded on your phone. Install it, and as soon as you do that and you've signed up, I'll be notified. And you can also join these live sessions. So you need to subscribe, and then you'll be notified every day when they're happening. Okay, so I think that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you to Elaine and Kim, who stayed till the almost the end, for joining. It's a pleasure having you. If you enjoyed this live stream, then sign up to the channel to be notified whenever I go live, which is 5 days a week. Or sign up to our Telegram list. Just go to lifeball.com to do that. So thanks very much for listening or watching. I hope to catch you on the inside soon. And namaste. So it's the true self in you. What does that say? True self in you. So namaste, which means the divine or true self in you acknowledges the honors that same true self in you. Hopefully see you soon. Much love, peace, and joy.